Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Kierra, and I just wanted to thank you for joining and being present with me today. Today we're going to be talking about the third, fourth, and fifth dimensional frequencies, and of course, ascension. And what that means to me when I'm talking about ascension, I'm just going to come closer, hi, is all about, this lifetime and our soul knowledge and awareness that we have every ability to cultivate within, to bring that into the body for our fullest potential while being in our human form. So to my understanding, from what I've received upon my path and other people around the world who are saying very similar things, that the earth is and will be going through some dramatic shifts, okay? And while this is occurring, you and we get to experience quantum leaps in our consciousness and our evolution while in the physical form, okay? Which is pretty cool. So those of you who have been and will be and are on this path towards spiritual awakening, this message is definitely for you. Today I'm going to be reading from these two books. So there's going to be a little bit of a crossover. I don't know how long this video is going to be. So I'm going to be reading from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And there's another, this book is called Inside the Yoga Sutras. This is by Reverend Jagannath Kierra, and this one is from Edwin Bryant. There you go. So these are the resources I'm going to be utilizing today, because I'm going to be talking about, it's called a yama. So if you look up the 8-limb path, I'm going to be talking about aparigraha and ascension, and just some ways that I'm finding some parallels in how this teaching, this concept, this philosophy can assist you on your path. So before we get into that, I'm going to chat about the third, fourth, fifth dimensional frequencies that I'm going to read to you. And then we're going to talk about how we can utilize this knowledge to help us with our ascension. So first and foremost, I use a whiteboard. So those of you who have been following me, welcome yet again to my whiteboard chaos. Because I see pictures. I have to relate all this information to you in a way that I understand it. So for me, that's color and pictures. So in my first videos, if you guys have been following, I'm going to be talking about, well, I'm going to be utilizing the same symbols I've been using. So here's the third. Oh yeah, here's a third dimensional plane, fourth, and this little green ball represents the earth, and the fifth, so earth. Okay, now it says earth planes. Now remember, we are multidimensional beings. We expand through our awareness, and our consciousness expands through multi-dimensions, and we have the ability to become aware. Okay, it just takes practice, like anything. Cultivated over a long time, it just takes practice, and you'll keep on expanding. Okay, so I've been drawing the third dimensional plane in a square, the fourth in a type of triangle, and the fifth in a circle. And in my previous videos, I talk about when we individually and collectively make these quantum leaps together, we go through a type of wobble or void space or purging. The ego, the identity can get a little freaked out because we're jumping these harmonic resonances between these planes of our multidimensional realities. Okay, they're very present. So if you, the video before this one is all about the energy pretty much now until the 23rd. And I've been talking about how the third dimensional plane and aspects of the fourth, okay? I haven't really touched too much about the fourth, but today we're going to go into that a little bit more. They're getting wiped out, you guys. And what I mean by that is because the cosmic energies, the energies, as I've been telling you guys, see that are coming from various places in the universe and from the central sun, they pass through our sun, they hit our planet, and it causes us to shift densities, shift realities, shift mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Okay? So I'm going to talk about first and foremost the third dimension. The third dimension is what most of us, our consciousness was birthed into. That is most of these fear-based realities, me versus you, very ego-based, not really trusting one another. This is where we have the concepts of like possessions, or the material world is what defines you, makes you who you are. The ego really loves to be fulfilled by instant gratifications, if you will. There is a very big gap between unity and being separate. There's an and again, a lot of this is Kierraology, you guys. The third dimension to me is when the consciousness individually and collectively, all of this is very war-based, fear-based, poverty consciousness, poverty, illness, judgment. There is a hierarchy in place, okay? This is where, you know, I was taking notes, just kind of preparing, and I've been doing energy work for 10 years, working with other people, so I've kind of been able to gauge how we've been shifting through this work. And I've noticed that there's been an evolution in sexual energy, meaning I've seen the, you know, the third dimension to me and aspects of the fourth is this very lustful, instant, I don't feel anything, so therefore I'm going to use your body or use my body to feel something, an energy surge, okay? So I would say the third dimension is very lust-based in the sacral chakras. So we have a lot of overactive sacral chakras here. And this is, again, the paradigm of where we feel, excuse me, that another person completes me. So we're using one another's energy fields to fill in where actually source, we don't learn really growing up how to connect to source. We don't learn these things to how to utilize our energy field. So for nourishment and our expansion consciously, and merging our minds and our hearts and our spirits and our awareness consciously, so practicing mindfulness, to be aware and cultivate emotional intelligence. So that is, you know, some of these disconnects here, and utilizing one another and really using each other in an unhealthy way, and unhealthy codependence is really, to me, all the third, fourth dimension, you know, aspects of the fourth dimension. Now, the fourth dimension is this dream astral place. There's some crossover. So you guys see how the fourth is really the bridge. You see that? It's the bridge. It's the between the third and the fifth dimension. So we were born here. Okay, those of you who identify as star seeds or indigo children, crystal children, rainbow children, blue rays, violet waves, you know, all of these terminologies for these souls who have come in to help help the evolution in consciousness collectively. And you can check out my video. It's titled The Starseed Network. We came in to kind of punch these holes through the third dimensional plane and fourth dimensional plane to help move us into these fourth dimensional consciousness. So we've been kind of like, when I talk like this doesn't mean like I'm better than you or you're better than me because I have this awareness or I know this about myself and my soul mission. We're going to talk about Aparigraha in a second. This just means, you know, there's a lot of people talking about how, I don't know why I just did that, about how old souls, if you will, or souls came in to shift consciousness. I know very well, and I have known since I was a child, that I'm one of these people. And many of you who are watching this video, you are too. You might identify with being a starseed or a light worker, or you feel pulled just to make this place better. So by naturally being here, you're probably someone who, again, like came through and like started punching holes in our energy grid to help us weave this bridge to the fifth dimensional plane. So, yeah, I'll just leave that. Okay, so the fourth dimension, that's our dream state. There's still fear. It's this place where we can merge our awareness with, you know, time and space, where we can connect between the future and the past, and there's still timelines that are present, so you guys bear with me. But, you know, if you're dreaming or if you're a lucid dreamer, this is where kind of these senses, we realize these senses through the body. And again, it's kind of to me, I don't really, excuse me, care for the lower aspects of the fourth dimensional realm. I do a lot of astral travel. That's something that's very normal. This is kind of how, to me, psychic senses kind of opened up. And it is a bridge to these higher realms because it's a connector and almost like a conductor between the higher planes of the ethers. Okay? So, to me, the fifth dimension, I'm just going to erase that because I love just focusing on the fifth dimension. And the other day I started, you know, kind of chatting a little bit more about 7th, 12th. There, you know, it's really infinite, guys. Just like our chakra system. Our chakra system is infinite. Yep. Newsflash. If you didn't know that. It's how these little wheels, vortices throughout time and space, is how we travel and expand our consciousness. Okay, so the fifth dimension is all about, you know, you guys, a lot of you in the spiritual community, you hear love and light, right? That's a very easy way to say it. Love and light. When I say light, I mean consciousness, and that consciousness that expands our awareness so that way we can be more of a unity, more of a union with ourselves and with one another. The fifth dimension, to me, there's no fear. There is love, abundance, and this is where there's that embodiment of the higher self. So, you know, I work a lot with people with the embodiment of the higher self. And what we actually do is we realize and we kind of start picking apart, okay, so how is this individual operating in their programs between the third, fourth, and fifth dimension? So if you're someone who works with me more in depth, we're actually dissolving this consciousness inside of you together and helping you embody your fifth dimensional aspects into your energy field, and then you naturally start living your intuitive action-based life. So the fifth dimension, again, it's about that embodiment of the fifth dimensional plane. There's more ease, there's more flow. This is the complete balance between the masculine and the feminine frequencies. This is where that ego space isn't so fixed on I, me. It's more about we, because this is that awareness of unity consciousness, that we're all one, that my energy affects your energy affects my energy. This is where we shift out of control and more to ease and flow, because that is the natural progress of the universal expansion or energy expansion. Like that, we naturally, excuse me, want to feel better and keep on healing and flowing and creating more ease. And that's why you're having a spiritual awakening, because the energy fields outside of us, we have been more mentally, emotionally programmed through the third and fourth dimensions, but the cosmic energies that I'm talking about, and others too, are they're coming through, and they're kind of forcing us to cleanse and awaken. Cleanse are these lower aspects of judgment, of separation, within and without. Okay? And that there has been an uprising, and will be and continue to be, a balancing act between the masculine and feminine frequencies, because you need both. There's the feminine is not more important than the masculine. The masculine is not more important than the feminine. It takes the two frequencies working together to create that unity, okay? So the fifth dimension is all about the embodiment and the balance between the masculine and the feminine. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere side of the brain. Okay, and that is that helps us realize and get out of fear, so that way our energy fields start fine-tuning. And what I mean by that is the human body has all of these capabilities, you guys. So if you're in this space right now, through our ascension process, we're naturally, when we go through these jumps or these wobbles between the third, fourth, fifth dimensional planes, when the energy, hold on, earth, okay? So when the energy up here, these higher planes, starts punching through and starts clearing out, you're naturally going to start reawakening to your abilities, such as your psychic senses, your knowingness, your balance, your telepathy, telekinesis, all of these abilities that the human body was created to do. And it's not a far-fetched idea. People all over the history of our planet have been engaging in such practices. It's just a matter of tuning the body and releasing fear. Okay, that's why purifying practices and engaging in purifying practices right now. And you can, just use the internet to your advantage. Just Google purifying practices and see what comes up. Anything that allows you to create, deepening your breath, meditation, moving your body, connecting with yourself and the natural elements, what calls out to you. And that is why I want to talk about right now aparigraha. So, hold on. Oh my goodness. Aparigraha. Okay. So those of you, you know, some of you watching, you might have a yogic background. Some of you will not. So this is, I'm just going to keep this kind of simple. This word, so look up yama. Okay, so I want you guys to do your own research. Again, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is how I have connected to the material. I'm not saying that, you know, what I'm about to talk about is the end all be all of this philosophy or teaching of the 8-limb path. This specifically is what has been jumping out at me in my path and what I want to talk about and how it relates to ascension. And what I mean when I say that is the dissolving of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimensional realities. Okay? So aparigraha or parigraha means non-possessiveness. Okay? Non-grasping, non-coveting, non-greediness, and the art and practice, the gift of non-attachment. Okay? So remember when I was talking about the 3rd dimensional plane, the energy coming through our planet is already forcing us to detach from ego, material. And you guys, like, we're material. We do need material things. We need clothing. We need self-care. We need to take care of our bodies. We need food and water right now. We need money. We need these things, but it's the way that we attach or also receive. Remember, the 3rd is about trust, judgment, connection. Are we using one another for that connection and filling voids, if you will, or are we releasing one another? So are we practicing releasing the attachment to unhealthy relationships or unhealthy aspects of our ego, so that way we can graduate into the 5th dimensional plane. Okay? Like the practice for me right now of aparigraha is any practice that I can do of these lower fields to help my soul or our souls evolve into the full embodiment of the higher self or the soul in the body. I'm going to read something to you just real quick. So I'm going to be reading from this book first. All right. You see that inside the, yeah, my books are old, you guys. So I'm reading Yoga Sutra 2.39, and then I'm going to read the other one from the other one. To one established in non-greed, so aparigraha, a thorough illumination of the how and why of one's birth comes. So the description real quick under that. When free of greed. So again, to me, that's, you know, these lower aspects of the 3rd and 4th dimensional plane. When free of greed, we gain the ability to see how our desires affect what we experience in life. We will discover not only how cravings brought certain experiences in this birth, but how powerful past desires propelled us from our past life into this one. So this book is talking about, this Yoga Sutra is talking about the ability of powerful past desires propelled us from our past life into this one. So a lot of what I talk about, so those of you who know how I work with you one-on-one, or I talk about soul memory. I talk about, you know, a lot of the work that I do with people is one-on-one work in the Akashic plane and above the Akashic plane. All this data that is getting released from these densities, so that way you can pull in your data from here and above. Okay, are you following me? I'm going to read from here now. The same Yoga Sutra. This is just going to be longer because there's way more description here. So I'm not going to read the Sanskrit because I'm still practicing and learning, and I don't want to butcher it too much. So again, this is Yoga Sutra 2.39. When refrainment from covetousness becomes firmly established, knowledge of the whys and wherefores of births manifests. So I'm going to read a little bit more of some of the things that I've underlined here that really jumps out to me because, again, I'm clairvoyant. This is kind of the work that I do with people, and it's of interest to me. And I see the crossover in our ascension process and our spiritual awakening of how we can attain the knowledge from when we practice non-attachment or non-covetousness, how we can remember and refine our mental plane, and the energy work, the actual energetic release of that blueprint, how it helps us pull in our knowledge from before we were born. Okay, so the yogi knows exactly who, this is from this book, the yogi knows exactly who he or she was in a previous birth. Okay? And what sort of person in what sort of circumstance. So those of you guys who are interested in past life healing, maybe you're someone like me and you have all your memories. Yeah, it's pretty trippy. Kind of cool, but you know, this is part of our awakening. We get to come into full consciousness. We get to keep on exploring our consciousness. This is something that's recorded that I want to talk about, because to me this book is another texts out there are telling us that we have the ability to keep on cleansing our mental plane and realize and experience this in the body. Okay, next. The yogi is able to perceive precisely how the present birth is the consequence of previous activities, and how present activities will fructify in the form of a specific future birth. Okay? And then it talks about techniques of dhyana meditation. The Buddha, he remembered thousands of past lives as if reliving them again. And I had been such and such a person at that time, and then passing out of a life I had come to this other life. I'm still reading. Just giving you these snippets here. In normal life, due to desiring enjoyment, due to the desire of the material. So I'm talking about these lower aspects of the ego right now. These things that can keep us entrapped mentally, emotionally, physically. One's consciousness is directed outward. And thus the type of knowledge mentioned in this sutra does not reveal itself. In other words, when awareness is not dissipated internally, go within, guys, it can be channeled internally into one's chitta, We're all imprints of, so chitta is, you know, look it up, there's variations of the mind. Where all imprints of past life experiences are recorded. Past life, this is, again, why myself and other people who do this type of healing work, we can actually see people's past lives, okay? Because it's there, it's true. By accessing the samskaras, the yogi can gain awareness, and you can do this yourself. The yogi can gain awareness of the past lives in which they were recorded. Along the same lines, I might butcher this, Hariharananda states that delusion stemming from attachment to one's body obstructs knowledge of the past and future. When this is given up and one becomes conscious of the body and separate from the self, so to me this is kind of like separate from that, you know, you've gone through aspects in your path of self-realization. The body becomes a superfluous burden, and the power of clairvoyance, which means awareness that is not limited to the bodily organs of sight, etc., is developed. I'm going to stop there. So this is so fascinating to me because the practice of aparigraha, non-possessiveness, non-grasping, non-greediness, non-attachment, not coveting. The gift here is it allows you to experience your highest, truest, purest form. And in my interpretation, that allows you, there we go, that allows you to retain your soul memory. When you start remembering your past life experiences, guess what you recover? All of your soul knowledge that is helping you, walk the bridge. So I'm going to put, you know, fifth dimensional you. This is where you have embodied and you keep on purifying, embodying your higher self. And this is also to do with the collective consciousness too, you guys. So here's, let's say, third dimensional consciousness you, fourth dimensional consciousness you, and there's these, you know, little doors that we keep on walking through. Keep on practicing non-possessiveness, non-grasping, especially like sometimes like the ego is so fearful, or when we start doing inner work, we are grasping onto our pain. We are grasping onto the body pleasures. I'm not saying like pleasure is bad. I'm saying that when we attach to it, it can hinder us from becoming that fifth dimensional embodiment of you. And again, the collective. And the way that the earth is ascending right now, the name of the game right now is you get on board with practicing non-grasping, not coveting. You know, we utilize social media so much to connect with one another, but it can also create these illusions, even more illusions. Oh, look at what that person's doing. Look at what this person's doing. I don't feel, you know, you might be measuring your self-worth to that other person that you don't know online or across town or in your church or in your, you know, the other parents if you're a parent. So not coveting someone else's life. And the way that you can shift that vibration and appreciate yourself is appreciating the abundance and creativity that is already inside of you. Celebrate the excitement of who you are, because you are the only you. You are the only you. And your soul, you know, to get you to jump these frequencies, these very high frequencies that are affecting all of us, you really need to start jumping on board with celebration. Every single day there's a new frequency that's rocking our planet. Celebrate your divinity. Get yourself out of these lower third, fourth planes, so that way you can attain and stretch your consciousness and vibration so much, so that way you can realize mentally, emotionally, physically that you are already this person. Yes, there's a process. There's time and space and timelines and this and that, all these people talk about, myself included. But the main thing here, you guys, is your personal power and your connection will always supersede external forces. As long as you are doing the work, you can quickly shift your vibration into these higher planes. And again, I'm going to go over what I wrote down. No love. Oh my gosh. No fear. Love. Like, I'm having that John Lennon song coming in my head. Love is the answer. I decided to sing. All right. Abundance. Embodiment of the higher self. Ease. Healing. Healing happens so easy in the fifth dimension. Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So if you're having some resistance in your physical body, I'm just going to share something with you guys. This year alone, it's the year 2018, I was not able to walk. I have an injury from my last child. I have 3 children, and she is 10 months old. And I have a spinal condition that taught me how to embody more of my soul knowledge and wisdom. And it taught me that I can utilize mudras, meditation, breath work, and of course physical manipulation and sound healing to heal myself. And I'm able to walk with a combination of letting go of these third and fourth dimensional programs that were in my body. So that is really the lesson here today, is practicing non-attachment, non-possessiveness, non-grasping, and non-greediness, so that way your consciousness shifts over and over and over, little bits every single day, so that way you can embody that person, because you're already there. And I want to remind you guys here that because we're multidimensional beings, hold on, I'm just going to draw a little diagram. Especially, like I said, we were all born in these frequencies here. And what is coming in, so I'm just going to draw our planet blue. And you guys need to wrap your mind around this. So this is the 5th through 24th dimensional frequencies. These frequencies are coming in to our star system to help us collectively and individually realize and embody our 5th dimensional self and our 5th dimensional ways of operation. So going through the rest of 2018, and especially next year, 2019, you're going to see the fall away of the lower aspects of the 4th dimensional plane and the final crumbling of the 3rd. And there's also going to be an uprising in the 5th dimensional frequencies. And again, love, abundance, embodiment of the higher self. So I want to encourage you to keep on purifying, keep on practicing and utilizing the gift of aparigraha, using the gift of non-attachment, because as I read earlier, when you do, excuse me, I dropped this, when you do, you have the natural ability to recall or realize all of your past lives, if you will. Now, each and every one of you has a spiritual toolkit that's known unto you. And you're going to need that for where we're headed collectively and individually. And I'm stressing this because, as I mentioned, naturally the energy on the planet is going to be shifting. Some of you guys already are having these experiences of the fourth dimension, like so maybe out-of-body experiences or more activity in dream time, or ascension symptoms such as headaches or being really thirsty or tired or just kind of feeling out of sorts, or you're going through emotional shifts. This is all happening for you. Okay? The best thing that you can do is just see it and just allow it to move through you, because like you're an antenna, and so everything moves through you. Okay? Practicing the stillness in your emotions, the stillness in your mind, the stillness in your spirit, okay, and the stillness in your body is definitely a tool for you to follow. So follow the impulses inside, those little sparks of divine inspiration. Sometimes, again, some of these belief systems of the third dimensional plane, they're very fear-based. They're very, very fear-based. So I challenge you to start the spiritual detox. Okay? Start detaching and allowing and giving yourself permission to make these quantum leaps forward, so that way you can truly discover who and what you are. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks for your time. My name is Kierra. Please make sure you hit subscribe. And I have a Facebook group. It's called Ascension for the Modern Mystic. Please join. And below, I'm dropping a free gift for you. You can join my newsletter. So there's freebies coming your way. A lot of really fun stuff. And again, my main mission is just to connect and help us all support one another during this time. All right. Thank you again. My name is Kierra. Have a good weekend.